I'm going to move on quickly to self-build, which I think hopefully a lot of people are kind of interested in. It's quite an up-and-coming kind of topic. It's been around for a while, but we're seeing a lot more enthusiasm for self-build, and we're seeing the government start to recognise that as well. So each council must keep a register of those people and individuals or groups that are looking for a self-build plot, which I think is really interesting because not everybody knows that. And councils, they must give permission to enough suitable self-build plots within 3 years of those individuals joining the register. What it doesn't do is it doesn't tie up the individual with the plot. So there's some kind of hole in that system there, but you know, there's a start here. So they have to provide those plots, but they don't have to tie them to those individuals. You can just join the self-build register, and we would 100% recommend you to join it if you are looking for a self-build plot, custom build. All the details of all the eligibility criteria on the council's website, so depending what local council you're in, all the criteria will be on there, so that's the first place to look, because the people on the register links to the need. So the more people on the register, the more plots they have to provide. So it's kind of, needs fueled really. Although not linked, it is really helpful. So in order to qualify as a self-build plot, you have to have access to the highway. So that's a guaranteed right of access. So it doesn't need to join the public highway. You just have to have guaranteed right of access, so right of way. It has to be a service plot. So you have to have water, wastewater and electricity provided to the boundary. So you can use alternatives, say cesspits for example, but that's kind of the general criteria. And then kind of the main thing is the final occupier must have input into design. So a common misconception is that you need to physically build the house yourself, and that is not true. So it's all about that input into the design. So I think a lot of people get put off with self-build and the idea because it is a common misconception that you have to then go and start, laying foundations, which is not true. I have a lot of people calling up the office saying, I'm looking to build it myself. Just thought I'd clarify that. So obviously, the main thing is for looking for a piece of land, for a plot of land. That's kind of probably the most difficult part of the process. And I think the main thing is being aware of the constraints of the land, working out kind of environmental, historic constraints, location, sustainability, other factors like that are really important. But I think getting a professional on board early on, even when you're just looking at sites, can really help you narrow down the constraints really and work out actually, is this feasible, is it not? So we offer appraisals prior to purchase of land, and we kind of give you an overview, say this is what to bear in mind, these are the things to look out for, and these are the things you kind of want to avoid, and we look at them on a site-by-site basis so we can provide that service for anyone. It kind of gives you a bit more of peace of mind, especially if you're purchasing a plot of land. And Miller Howard as well, they're super experienced self-build, so again, they're really good people to get in contact with if you're thinking of purchasing a plot of land. So if you're applying for planning permission as an individual for a self-build plot, you can do a thing called permission in principle, you can go for outline consent, or you can do a full application. So one tip we'd say is make sure that your consultant team and the planning application all notes that it's a self-build project, because when determining applications, quite often self-build will be given more weight than just a generic plot of land, well, just a house builder. So do bear that in mind. That is quite significant in your application. You can apply for self-build as an individual, a group, but you'd need to go through an outline route so you can make sure that everyone can have that individual kind of design touch on their own plot, if you see what I mean. So then you can apply later to get all the detailed designs in. So for an outline application, you can do a design code and say building heights, you can building lines, material palette, character, you can kind of define those elements, and then go back in for each individual plot when you've kind of ready to do so. And I'll get kind of just finish off to say that it is a slow process, and it can be difficult to secure a plot of land, and it can be difficult to achieve planning permission. And one thing we would definitely recommend is that you get involved with consultation on planning policies, get in touch with your local councillors and start conversations. If we all start talking about self-build, it kind of gets it out there, and it is a great thing, and it is becoming more and more prevalent. And I think, for example, Stroud new local plan has a lot of policies about self-build, so they're really trying to bring in more possibilities for self-build plots. So it's things like that. Talking to your local council is a really good place to start, and getting involved as much as you can. So don't let the process put you off, because if you do it right with the right team, you can definitely achieve your dream home. So thank you very much for listening. Sorry, it's just a whistle-stop tour, but if you have any questions, then I'll be kind of mingling. Thank you. Thanks.